global ranking. This is the ranking given to the Asian universities. Even within Asia, let alone global ranking, even within Asia, you could see Taiwan is getting up, Tokyo is getting up, small countries are getting up, but we are not figuring there. So it is a time of introspection. We are expanding. We are doing many things. Heavy investment is there in higher education at all levels, at all layers. But somehow we have not made an impact. We are service providers to the IT, BT, and so many things. But when you measure the quality and the standards of the institutions, people may have a lot of criticisms and the comments and on these ranking procedures. But somewhere I have to figure there, then I can criticize your method is wrong. So I have I have also given comments on the dynamics of ranking elsewhere, how the limitations are there, why exactly we are not figuring, etc., etc. But somehow, with this diversity, with this number of institutions, we have to make a mark at the international level because it is not happening. Somewhere something is happening with regard to the quality. Like that, I can go on to only to convince you that quality has to be taken care of. So because of all these different things, the present texture, higher education is a question of survival today. When we were students 50, 30, 40 years back, in many families, children were not going to the higher education. 60 years back, still less. So it was a luxury during those days. And today it is no longer a luxury, it is essential for survival. It is no longer elitist, it is more accessible because of these things. So with an increase in all this demand and rapid expansion of higher education, there is a need to assure quality in all these institutions. Because I have justified why it has to be there. So health checkup of the universities, how do you assure this? Health checkup of the universities are the institutions. I compare accreditation, quality assurance, whatever it is, to health checkup. I go to a doctor, not to get sympathy from a doctor. Doctor has to be impartial to tell me what are the defects in my body, what are the strengths in my body, what are the weaknesses in my body, and he has to diagnose with appropriate tools to tell me how to improve my health. So what we need in the country today is constant health checkup of the universities to assure quality. The challenge is to identify relevant and appropriate diagnostic attributes, defining quality with measurable indicators. Quality attributes and measurable indicators. These are two different things. How to quantify? Then you can ask me a question, how do you quantify quality? There's a different challenge. But as the medical profession has improved, as the diagnostic tools have evolved to a certain extent today, even through a prenatal diagnosis, you can predict what are the likely damages, what are the likely aberrations in the health could be there in the child to be born. Today, all such diagnostic tools are required in our country. As you know, many institutions are born, either through the legislation or through private agencies. Many of these institutions are totally deprived of any quality, either human resource, infrastructure, buildings, sports, etc., etc. So even before the institutions are born, quality has to be taken care of, as much as we do genetic counseling or prenatal counseling. Since higher education is evolving, the diagnostic tools also need to be innovative. 30 years back or 40 years back, when we joined colleges and schools, there is nothing like quality assurance mechanism. There was nothing like accreditation, bodies, accreditation, etc. Society used to accredit which is the best college. My parents, your parents would have made a decision based on the public perception. Today, it is not possible. Because so much of diversity, so many players, the ecosystem is extremely complex today. In the ecosystem, there are carnivores, all types of players are there. So we have to be extremely careful. That's why I said diagnostic tools need to be innovative. As and more new challenges are coming up, quality assurance mechanisms, the accreditation events also need to be innovative. So when we do these things, national and international perspectives and benchmarks have to be taken care of. Because higher education is not confined to the domain of country, our students, our faculty. Mobility is the bottom line today. So in order to encourage mobility within the country and across the countries. So now all of us are academicians. Even within the country, mobility is very minimum now. I graduated from Bangalore. I got PhD from Bangalore, doctoral degree in Bangalore. Everything, my entire career is in Bangalore. Mobility is zero. But with increasing, mushrooming number of institutions, this mobility has to be there. Cross-fertilization of the ideas need to take place, not only within the country, across the country. So that has to happen. All our quality benchmarks have to take cognizance of national and international benchmarks. Of course, I will not go into the detail. It is extremely difficult to define what quality is. These are the standard slogans when we discuss of quality to avoid discussion. I'm confessing quality itself is an elusive concept. I cannot define, I cannot quantify it. So in spite of that, the accrediting bodies are evolving certain procedures to do this job. Of course, when quality expectations come, the academia has one set of perceptions like this: scientific outlook, historical consciousness, numerical and data handling, etc., etc. So academicians have one set of expectations from the students. Similarly, the industry, because we look at the university-industry interaction, these are the employers, and employers have another set of expectations. That's why I said in the beginning, after the campus interview, they spend a couple of months to see that students unlearn whatever they have learned because they have to imprint in them something new. So the expectations from the industry or the employers are different. So quality expectations of the family, quality expectations of the employers and of the academia are different. And our training programs have to take care of these things. So all these things is due to accreditation. They say accreditation is a very strong force, and that has to take care of these things. Again, when we think of all these quality measures, etc., now accreditation is a procedure, is a mechanism to ensure quality, accountability, and improvement with continuity. Continuity is the catchword here. It is not a one-time event. Today it may be ranked, it doesn't mean that that ranking or the gradation, whatever given by any accreditations is forever. It has to change over a period of time. As I said earlier, it has to respond. So whenever accreditation takes place, see, this is the word. It is an assurance that minimum standards have been met and institution is committed for continuous improvement. We are not measuring the excellence here. Excellence are measured by ranking institutions, for example. When accreditation takes place, in most of across the world, in different countries, what they take care of is basically accreditation means if an institution is accredited, it assures that in that institution, the minimum things are there for all parameters of concern so that quality education is provided. So accredited, non-accredited, it only tells you whether it has the basic ingredients or not. In the global scenario, more than 80 countries have this accreditation process in place. Sometimes it is voluntary, as in our country. Accreditation is there. Accreditation bodies are there, like NAC, a part of UGC, the NBA as a part of AICTE, like that. And even for agricultural universities, there are some bodies like that. But as of now, it is voluntary in our practice. Of course, a bill is before the parliament to make it mandatory. Mandatory not only for the institutions, even for the programs, the diplomas offered by the universities and the institutions. Every university, every institution has to be accredited at the institutional level, but also at the level of programs. Every university will have, on an average, 40 plus programs. Every program has to be accredited. Every diploma has to be accredited. And every college has to be accredited, both at the institutional level and the program level. That is, it's a mammoth task for the country to take care of this mandatory accreditation. Of course, accreditation is a must. If accreditation fails in this country, higher education fails. Therefore, the onus is on all of us to make sure whether NAC does it, NBA does it, or somebody else does it, it must be as robust as possible. It is like a health checkup of the institution. And sometimes it is institutional program, as I said. Sometimes it is regulated. That means different strategies are there. Government bodies are doing accreditation. In some countries, autonomous bodies are doing. NAC, for example, even though it is under the umbrella of UGC, for all practical purposes, it is totally autonomous structure. Nobody interferes in this business. So these are different strategies. Of course, international practices, the word audit is used in UK, Australia, South Africa, Malaysia. It is both, when the word audit comes, you know that it is both policing and helping them. When accreditation word is being used, it is mostly a facilitating one. It is not a policing one. So, as I said, the product remains same, the process remains same, but the approach could be different. Of course, in USA, there's one organization called CHIA, Council for Higher Education Association. This is the top body. And this body recognizes other agencies to accredit. CHIA by itself will not accredit. The business is to set standards and give license, permission to other agencies to conduct accreditation. And it monitors the activities of those agencies. It is, and in US, as you know, I know, there are regional accreditors. The country is divided into 6 regions, and each region has a regional body, and that regional body is recognized, licensed by the CHIA. And this regional body will cover one geographic region. They have a geographic distribution. Even in India, the challenge is that today. We have a huge country with so many institutions. One NAC, one NBA is doing. So now the question is whether to have multiple agencies to take care of these things. In US, multiple agencies are there, but each agency has a restricted region to perform. That in that region, only that agency is working. Multiple agencies are there, but with a mandate of jurisdiction. So like that, in UK, you have quality assurance, QAA. So like that, all these different countries are practicing it. Similarly, in Australia, AQUA, European Consortium of Accreditation. All these bodies are there to see that standards are set and appropriate agencies are going to perform the accreditation. So in all these countries, one thing that has happened is mobility. Within USA, is a vast, massive movement of academicians. Within USA or within Europe, such a massive movement is not possible in this country because even today, credit transfers are not in place. Whereas in Europe, across Europe, the people could move from one university to the other, from one country to the other, because the mutual recognition of the programs, mutual recognition of the accreditation status. So one important trade-off of accreditation could be, I'll come to the end, mutual recognition of the programs, mutual recognition of the institutions. If that happens, mobility can happen. So like this, different countries have different strategies to perform. Of course, when I come to NAC, it's Indian methodology. All these different countries have the same structure to measure. Of course, the vocabulary could be different, like curricular aspects, teaching, learning, infrastructure, admissions, research, governance, leadership, innovative practices. This is the structure of the NAC, which is accrediting institutions. The same parameters with a different vocabulary, with a different terminology are there in other countries also. Of course, these are the things to be taken care of because these are the indicators, these are the criteria that have been identified by the international bodies. In addition to that, you can have more criteria, but these are the basic criteria to be satisfied by all countries when accreditation takes place. Of course, in addition to this well-structured questionnaire, we also are asking questions of gender neutrality, physically challenged, adoption of energy efficient systems, water harvesting in